Welcome back, children, to your online classes for maths. This is day 2 of your learning session. We will continue with our chapter Integers. I hope everyone is ready for a small revision test in which you can assess yourself if you remember what you had learned in the previous session. And children, I want you to take this test seriously and solve it so that it becomes clear how much you have understood. Let it be your self-assessment. Before we learn how to solve the questions given in the first exercise, let us first see some examples. Here we can see that decrease in weight is negative in terms of integers and increase in weight is positive. Deposit of money is positive and withdrawal of money is negative. Above sea level is positive and below sea level is negative. Loss of money is negative and gain of money is positive. Children, yesterday we did the first question of exercise 1.1. Today we'll start the second question. In a quiz, positive marks are given for correct answers and negative marks are given for incorrect answers. If Jack's scores in 5 successive rounds were 25, minus 5, minus 10, 15 and 10, what was his total at the end? Now as you can see, the marks of different rounds are given and we have to find his total score. So how will we find it? Now first step that we'll write is marks scored in the first round, which is 25. Marks scored in the second round is negative 5. Marks scored in the third round is negative 10. Marks scored in the fourth round positive 15. Marks scored in the fifth round positive 10. Now when we are talking about the total score, we have to add all the scores. So 25 plus minus 5 plus minus 10 plus 15 plus 10. Now here we can see that two signs are coming together. So we will use the rule of sign. Now what does the rule of sign say? It says that when two different signs come together, then we have to make it into one sign. So plus and minus becomes minus. So again in the next step we will write 25 minus 5 minus 10 plus 15 plus 10. Now children, another thing to remember is all the positive numbers should be written together and all the negative numbers should be written together. So that means 25, 15 and 10, which are positive, will be written together. Minus 5 and minus 10, which are negative, will be written together. So the next step comes out to be 25 plus 15 plus 10 minus 5 minus 10. So here again we can see that whenever same signs are there, we always add and put the sign. So 25 plus 15 plus 10 gives us 50, and again using same rule, negative 5 and negative 10, same signs, so we'll add the numbers but keep the sign. So 5 plus 10 is 15 and it becomes minus 15. Now we just have to solve this. 50 minus 15 gives us 35. So Jack's total score comes out to be 35. Third question. At Srinagar, temperature was minus 5 degrees Celsius on Monday and then it dropped by 2 degrees Celsius on Tuesday. What was the temperature of Srinagar on Tuesday? On Wednesday, it rose by 4 degrees Celsius. What was the temperature on this day? Now children, we have to remember that drop in temperature means negative and rise in temperature means positive. And it is given that the temperature of Srinagar on Monday was minus 5 degrees Celsius. So how to solve this? The first step is we will write what is given. Temperature of Srinagar on Monday is minus 5 degrees Celsius. Then we will write what is the drop in temperature on Tuesday. The drop in temperature on Tuesday is minus 2 degrees Celsius. Now we have to find out what was the temperature of Srinagar on Tuesday. So temperature of Srinagar on Tuesday, we will add up the original temperature with the drop in temperature. So -5 plus -2 degrees Celsius. Whenever two signs are coming together, we use the rule of sign. So plus minus becomes minus. -5 -2 degrees Celsius. Whenever two same signs come together, we always add the numbers up and keep the sign. That means 5 plus 2 is 7 and we keep the sign as negative. So the answer comes out to be -7 degrees Celsius. Temperature of Srinagar on Tuesday is -7 degrees Celsius. Now the second part of the question, it says that rise in temperature of Wednesday is 4 degrees Celsius. So there was a rise in temperature. So since we already know that Tuesday the temperature was -7 degrees Celsius, we have to add up that temperature with the rise in temperature. So temperature of Srinagar on Wednesday becomes -7 plus 4 degrees Celsius. Whenever two signs are coming together, rule of sign we use. So plus plus remains plus. So whenever two different signs come together, we always subtract the numbers and put the sign of the greater number. So 7 minus 4, we subtract 7 and 4, we get 3, and the bigger sign is minus, so we put minus. So temperature of Srinagar on Wednesday becomes -3 degrees Celsius. Fourth question. A plane is flying 5,000 meter above the sea level. At a particular point, it is exactly above a submarine floating 1200 meter below the sea level. What is the vertical distance between them? Now here, as you can see in the picture, children, it says that there is a plane that is flying over the sea and there is a submarine in the same sea. So at one point, the plane and the submarine is exactly overlapping each other, and at that time they are asking what is the distance between the plane and the submarine. Now what we'll do is, whenever we have to find the distance of point A to point B, we always subtract. So here also we'll subtract both the distances. Now first thing that we have to remember is that above sea level means positive and below sea level means negative. So the first step that we'll write is height of the plane above the sea level is positive 5,000 meter. Depth of the submarine below the sea level is negative 1200 meter. Now when we are finding out the distance of these two, distance between plane and submarine, we'll write it as 5,000 meter minus of 1200 meter. So whenever two signs come together, we use the rule of sign, which says that negative and negative becomes positive. So the next step comes out to be 5,000 plus 1200, which gives us 6,200 meter. So the vertical distance between the plane and the submarine comes out to be 6,200 meter. Next question. Mohan deposits rupees 2,000 in his bank account and withdraws rupees 1,642 from it the next day. If withdrawal of amount from the account is represented by a negative integer, then how will you represent the amount deposited? Find the balance in Mohan's account after the withdrawal. Now here in the question, they are already saying that the withdrawal of money is considered as a negative integer. So the amount depositing means it becomes positive. So how will we solve this? First step, amount deposited by Mohan is rupees 2,000. Amount withdrawn by Mohan is negative 1,642. Now how much money is left in his account? How will we find out? We will add both the amount deposited and the amount withdrawn. Why are we doing this is because we are already considering withdrawn as negative. So we will not subtract here, but we will add. So in this case, next step comes out to be rupees 2,000 plus minus 1,642. Here again we will use the rule of sign because two signs are coming together. Positive and negative becomes negative. So 2000 minus 1642, and our answer comes out to be rupees 358. So the balance in Mohan's account after withdrawal is 358 rupees. Next question. Rita goes 20 km towards east from a point A to the point B. From B, she moves 30 km towards west along the same road. If the distance towards east is represented by a positive integer, then how will we represent the distance travelled towards west? By which integer will you represent her final position from A? As you can see in the figure, there is a point A given and east and west. Point B is the position from where she starts moving. So here in this case, it is already given in the question that the distance towards east is represented by a positive integer. So that means the distance travelled towards west should be taken as a negative integer. So east is positive and west is negative. Now how will we solve this question? So first step comes out to be distance travelled by Rita towards east is positive 20 km. Distance travelled by Rita towards west is negative 30 km. And so we have to find the total distance she has travelled to reach the position A. So final position of Rita, we will add both the distances. So in this case 20 plus minus 30 km, plus and minus again using the rule of sign, positive and negative becomes negative. 20 minus 30, whenever two different signs come together, we always subtract the numbers and keep the sign of the bigger number. So here in this case 30 is the bigger number, and so we will put the sign of negative here and we subtract 30 and 20, we get it as 10 km. So it comes out to be negative 10 km. Therefore, her final position at A is negative 10 km. That means 10 km towards the west. Next question is that of a magic square. What is a magic square? Magic square is a square grid in which the sum of the integers in each row, column and diagonal is equal. So that means diagonally, row wise or column wise, whenever you are adding all the numbers, you should get the same answer. So we have to check if the given grid, number grid, are magic box or not. Let us take the first example. Let's look at the first square grid given. From the top it is row 1, second from the top is row 2 and third from the top is row 3. And if we are talking about the column, we'll always start from the left side. So that means left hand side, the first column is column 1, second one is column 2 and third one is column 3. And when we are talking about diagonals, we always start from the left hand side top. So that would be diagonal 1, and from the right hand side top would be diagonal 2. Now when we are talking about rows and columns and diagonals, we have to see that the sum of each row and each column should come out to be same. So for example, if we look at row 1, the numbers given are 5, minus 1, minus 4. When we add all these numbers, we get the answer as 0. So we will similarly add up all the rows and all the columns. Here if we can see, we'll see that row 2, the sum is also 0. In row 3, the sum is 0. Now if we go to the columns, again we'll see the same pattern, that when we add the column 1 or add the numbers of column 1, we get the answer as 0. And when we add the numbers of column 2, we get the answer as 0. and when we add the numbers of column 3, we get the answer as 0. When we are talking about the diagonals, again we'll use the same rule. We add up the numbers of a diagonal. So diagonal 1, when we add up all the numbers, we get the answer as 0. And when we are adding diagonal 2, the numbers of diagonal 2, the answer is -6, which is not equal to the other rows and columns. So this means that this is not a magic square, because the diagonals and the sum of the other rows and columns does not match or are not equal. So this is not a magic square. Now what I want you guys to do is, you have to find out, you have to check whether the second square grid that is given is a magic square or not. The next question is a verify question, in which you have to verify for the different values of a and b if the equation holds true. Now how will we do that? First we have to solve the equation separately. So for that we have to take it as LHS and RHS. What is LHS and what is RHS? For that, first we have to look at the equal to sign in the equation. If we look to the equal to sign in the equation, we can see that onto the left hand side of the equal to sign we have a minus minus b. That would be the LHS, and on the right hand side of the equal to sign is a plus b, which will be the RHS. So now let's put the values of a and b into the equation for LHS and RHS separately and see if both the answers are equal. If the answers are equal, then that means the equation stands true for these values. But if the answer is not equal, then that means the equation does not stand true for the values given at hand. So first let us start with LHS. A minus minus b, where we put the value of a and b as 21 and 18. 21 minus minus 18. Whenever two signs are coming together, we always use the rule of sign. So two negatives becomes a positive. 21 plus 18, which is 39. Now let us move on to RHS, which is a plus b. Here a is 21 and b is 18. So that means 21 plus 18, we get the answer as 39. So that means LHS is equal to RHS. And so we have proved, or we have verified, that this equation stands true for the values of a and b of 21 and 18. Now what I want you guys to do is, you have to try the rest 3 questions yourself in similar way, so that you understand it better. The next question is comparing question, where you have to put greater than, less than, or equal to sign. Now as you can see, the numbers are given as sum or differences. So here in this question, first you will solve each sum separately and then get the answer and then compare. For example, let's take the first one, which is minus 8 plus minus 4. Is it greater than, equal to, or less than minus 8 minus minus 4? So first we will take the first sum, that is minus 8 plus minus 4. So here first let us solve it. It comes out to be, the next step comes out to be minus 8 plus minus, because there are two different signs, we use the rule of sign, it becomes negative. So minus 8 minus 4. Here, because there are two same signs, we will always add. So we get the answer as negative 12. Let's go to the next portion. It is minus 8 minus minus 4. Here again two signs are coming together. So using the rule of sign, negative and negative becomes positive. So minus 8 plus 4. Again two different signs, so it becomes we will subtract the numbers and put the sign of the greater number. That means 8 is subtracted by 4, and so we get the answer as 4, and we put the sign of the bigger number, which is 8. So we got two different numbers as minus 12 and minus 4. So we have to compare minus 12 and minus 4. So which do you think is greater? As you know, on the number line, as we go towards the left, the numbers tend to become smaller, and as we go to the right of the number line, the numbers tend to grow bigger. The value grows bigger. So that means here minus 4 is greater than minus 12. Now what I want you guys to do is, using the similar steps, you have to solve the rest of the questions yourself. The 10th question is, a water tank has steps inside it. A monkey is sitting on the topmost step, that is the first step. The water level is on the 9th step. There are 3 parts in it. Let's see how to solve each part separately. A part, he jumps 3 steps down and then jumps back 2 up. In how many jumps will he reach the water level? Now we have to remember that with each step he is moving 3 down and 2 up. So that means first he will move 3 steps down and then he will move 2 steps up. So similarly, we have to remember one more thing, which is going down would be positive and going up would be negative. So that means when we are talking about the monkey's first jump, he's at present standing at 1, the first step. So when he goes from first step 3 down, he reaches 4th step. Then from the 4th step, on his second jump, he goes 2 up. That means 4 minus 2, which is the second step. He reaches the second step. Now on his third jump, he goes from the second step 3 down. That means 2 plus 3, which gives us 5th step. So he has gone down. Now he'll go up again. So in the 4th jump, from the 5th step, he moves 2 steps up, and so he reaches the step 3. Then again from the 3rd step, on his 5th jump, he moves 3 steps down, which means now he has reached the 6th step. On his 6th jump, he moves 2 steps up. That means from 6th step, he goes 2 back, which is 4th step. From the 4th step, on his 7th jump, he goes 3 steps down and he reaches the 7th step. From the 7th step, on his 8th jump, he goes 2 steps back and he reaches the 5th step. On his 9th jump, from the 5th step, he goes 3 down, so he reaches the 8th step. From the 8th step, on his 10th jump, he goes 2 backwards, so he has reached the 6th step. Now again, on his 11th jump, from 6th step, he moves 3 steps down, so he has reached the 9th step. So how many steps did the monkey take to reach the 9th step? He took 11 jumps. He had to make 11 jumps to reach the 9th step. B part, after drinking water, he wants to go back. For this, he jumps 4 steps up and then jumps 2 steps down in every move. So in how many jumps will he reach back the top step? Again, here going up we consider as negative and coming down we consider as positive. So first jump, he is at the 9th step, so he moves 4 steps back, he will reach the 5th step. On his second jump, he is at the 5th step and he moves 2 steps down, and now he reached the 7th step. On his third jump, he is on the 7th step and he'll go 4 to the top and he has reached the 3rd step. On his fourth jump, he is at third step. He will move 2 down and he will reach the fifth step. On his fifth jump, he is at the fifth step. He will go 4 up and he will reach the first step. So the monkey has taken 5 jumps to reach the top. That means the first step. Third part, if the number of steps moved down is represented by negative integers and the number of steps moved up is represented by positive integers, then you have to complete the following pattern and get the answers as -8 and 8. Now they are also saying if -8 represents going down by 8 steps, then what will +8 represent? Now as you can see, in the earlier two questions, we had taken going down as positive and coming up as negative, but now in this question, they have reversed the order. Now they are saying that going down is negative and going up is positive. So wherever we had put +3, we have to convert it into -3, and wherever we had put +2, we have to convert it into -2. So in the first question, we can see that in the first part, we can see that the monkey had to jump 11 times to reach the 9th step. So starting from -3, if we alternate the numbers 3 and 2 11 times, we will get the answer as -8. That means the monkey has gone down 8 steps and has reached the 8th step on 11 jumps. Now if we are talking about the second part again, in the previous question it said that it took 5 jumps for the monkey to reach the top. So again here we had taken 4 as negative and 2 as positive, but here we will take 4 as positive and 2 as negative, and by 5 we will get it as 8. By 5 jumps we'll get it as 8. So 8 represents that the monkey has gone up by 8 steps. That's it, children, for today. Hope you understood whatever was taught in this session, and I hope that you will all practice the given questions and be prepared for the next session tomorrow.